So check it out, guys. So today I want to talk about, because everybody is tagging me in these pro-choice arguments that they're seeing on TikTok, and I can't make a video because I'm still banned for however many days left I got on my TikTok ban. But a lot of people always ask me to debunk all these types of videos with pro-choice and things like that, which I'm happy to do. So I want to go over a couple, and it's usually when these videos start becoming like viral, and they start getting attention, then people start tagging me in them, and then they're like, "Oh, Tyler, can you do like this person thinks they know what they're talking about? Can you go ahead and own the libs, Ty? Own the libs." Now, I'm happy to do it. I'm happy to do it. But anyway, so let's go ahead and get into this real quick. So the first person that's up is it this one? Well, I guess we could talk about her real quick. The other person has like 3 videos. I meant to send over this one. Hold on. This one. I need to send this over. Come on. So this woman is, and here's the thing. Try and give people the same respect that they give either me or they're giving their followers or whatever. And sometimes they're just super arrogant. It's cool to, fine, if you want to be arrogant, if you're right, all right, but if you are being arrogant and you are wrong, then you just look like an asshole. So let's go ahead and get into this video and what she says.
This is probably the most common and the most stupid pro-life argument. And I say that because abortion does not fit the criteria for murder. This is the exact definition of murder. In most places, abortion is legal, so it's not unlawful. So it's not, I don't really know how else to explain it, but it's not even your opinion. It's factually incorrect to say that abortion is murder. Murder is not an action. It's a legal term. So you can't say, "Oh yeah, but I think it's murder." No, you can't say you think it's murder. Because it's not murder in terms of the actual definition. That's all I wanted to say. Have a good day.
So the argument is, well, it's not murder because definitionally, I love when they bring up definition. You guys know I'm quick with them definitions. I've owned people I had, a couple viral videos where I owned a bunch of people on transgenderism and all that talking about definitionally. You motherfuckers are incorrect. You know what I mean? They're like, "Oh no, it's nuance. You got to look more into it and things like that." But they love to bring this shit up when it talks about this. "Oh no, well, definitionally, it's not murder because, it's unlawful or it's lawful." It's like, well, no, that's not the same. And it's very easy to bring this up, even just to throw it back in their faces over things that they believe is murder, right? Before you even get into it, it's like, okay, well, do you believe that Breonna Taylor was murdered? Just about everybody on the political left believes that Breonna Taylor was savagely murdered, right? So I definitely don't believe that. But that's a topic for another time. Definitely, it was tragedy that she got killed, but not murdered by the police. So, hey, was Breonna Taylor murdered? Yes, Breonna Taylor was murdered. Well, no, because, given your logic here, they weren't convicted for her murder, so she wasn't murdered. Sorry. Hey, how about Trayvon Martin? That's still a hot topic. How about Trayvon Martin? Was he murdered by George Zimmerman? Yes, he was definitely murdered. Well, the thing is that George Zimmerman was not found guilty of that crime. So, guess Trayvon wasn't murdered. You know what I mean? So you could just totally just throw it back in their faces over things that people who have been killed, that they believe were just savagely murdered. And if no one was convicted of that crime, then they believe that it's no longer murder. Okay, if you're going to be logically consistent there, then you got something. But here's the thing, too. There's still a big flaw in this, right? Let's say that I walk up and shoot somebody in the face. No real motivation. I don't know. Maybe I just felt like it. Who cares? But I go up, I just shoot somebody in the face, right? Dead. Just dead. Now, due to whatever, some technicality or something, maybe police messing up, whatever the thing is, I am not convicted, right? I am not found guilty of this crime. Did I no longer murder them? Right? You're just appealing. They're appealing to authority. They are appealing to this sense of government. It's like, oh, well, if the law says it, then it's murder. Well, no, right? You can murder people. I mean, they believe that police are murdering black people, right? Just murdering black people every single year, just murdering, and people, and the police officers are just getting off with it, right? Now, I'm not saying that some police officers aren't unjustly killing people of all races. I mean, that does definitely happen, but I'm exaggerating it to the point to where they believe like just every killing is just murder on black people from police officers, right? So, um, yeah, they believe that they're just savagely murdering black people, but not many of these police officers are being convicted. Okay, well then they're not murdering black people. Then I mean, it's lawful. You know what I mean? It's just in the eyes of law, it's lawful. You know what I mean? So even if you just throw that logic back in their face, they're probably gonna stumble and be like, oh well, I guess yeah, that really doesn't make sense. Uh, so that's really easy to overcome. But again, it doesn't matter if the law says that it is or not. I mean, that's the qualifier. If I unjustly shoot somebody in the face, I go up to him and I kill him, then by their logic, if I, as long as I get off and I'm not convicted, then I never murdered anyone. You can even carry that over into other crimes, things like rape. Okay, let's say that there's video evidence of somebody raping somebody and raping a child or raping a woman or raping a man or whatever you want to say. There's video proof, but due to some technicality, due to whatever, because shit does happen, even with proof, sometimes people do get off and they're not convicted. Um, let's say that that person is not convicted. Okay, well then by your logic, they never raped anybody. No, of course, it doesn't matter if the fucking law said that they raped somebody. I mean, we know. I mean, there's proof. I mean, we saw it. Like they raped that motherfucker. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So this is such a poor argument. Uh, just because the law doesn't convict you of murder doesn't mean you did not murder someone. It's very easy, right? Very easy. So, all right, let's get into another one. So, and it's just funny when people are just so arrogant when they just say this is the stupidest looking argument that pro life. It's like, bro, it's like this Victoria Hammett like mind state, man. I give people the same respect that they give me, right? So if someone's debating me and they're very, polite, I'm very polite. You know what I mean? You've seen clips of me posting it. One of my most recent clips on Instagram. We are very polite engagement between the two of us. But when someone starts saying some bullshit, you know what I mean? They start trying to ad hom me or start trying to belittle me or anything. It's just like, all right, well, I'm come back like tenfold. You know what I mean? I'm gonna make you look fucking stupid. So, you know what I mean? So when people have videos like this, why can't you just answer the question? Why can't you either just debunk it or just answer why do you have to like throw in, well, you're so fucking stupid. You know, I mean, it's just so fucking, like, why do you have to do that? I don't think that you're going to bring anybody over to your side with that. I mean, just my opinion. You know what I mean? So anyway, so let's go ahead and get into another one. Now, this one is by this chick. Hold on. I didn't upload the photo. I'm going to upload this photo right now so you can see her. This chick is on there, and I'm showing this to you in case that, because I'm not on TikTok right now because I'm still banned. But hey, I invited this chick on, by the way. This next chick that I'm bringing up, this chick right here. Oh shit, wrong one. That one. Damn, same one, wrong one. Hold on. Hold on. Oh, I think it's this one. I had the wrong one. I invited this chick on the podcast tonight. I was like, hey, I'm gonna debunk a bunch of your videos. Do you want to come on and defend? And she replied and she says, defend? No. She says, explain? Yes. I was like, okay. So I am going, just shoot me a DM on my Instagram if you want to come on. This was hours ago. And she never replied, never reached out to me. So is what it is. But this is her. Yesterday's makeup on TikTok. So you can find her on there. A bunch of her videos are all about abortion. So let's get into one of her vids.
Now, this is the conversation we should be having, because a fertilized egg is not a full human being, and a fetus on its way out the birth canal pretty much is a human being. Where does that happen? And that's what we should focus on. To me, I would say it happens once it becomes self-sustaining, when it can breathe on its own, when it can be outside the womb and survive.
there I am, is the viability argument, right? And this argument is so incredibly flawed that if you've never come across it and you don't know how to overcome it, I'm going to give you some things right now that you can hit them with to where I doubt they are going to be able to answer. So a couple things. One, you want to go ahead and substantiate what do you mean by viability? Clearly what they mean is they're talking about like the fundamental right to life is somehow determined by whether or not you're able to survive without another person, like some other type of agent, helping you. It's like, oh, okay. So then the problem with that, let's say here in America, viability is about 24 weeks gestation. It's about 24 weeks in the womb. But there are places like sub-Saharan Africa where it's not. It could be 28 weeks. It could be 30 weeks. It could be longer than that, right? I mean, you're talking about a place where it's incredible. I think I read a study somewhere. It's like 100 up to 100 times more dangerous for women just giving birth in general because they just don't have a lot of the medical tools and resources that we have here. We're very fortunate to be Americans and to live in America and to have, good health facilities here where places like in sub-Saharan Africa, they don't. You know what I mean? It's just not great. So you would have to concede that because they don't have the necessary life-saving skills that we do, that they aren't given the same rights as persons than us. So I guess oh man, talk about sub-Saharan Africa. We're just more superior than the black people again. I don't know. That's what it is, man. That's what it is. You're saying that we're somehow that we're just superior. We grant the right to life earlier than y'all motherfuckers because y'all motherfuckers don't have the shit that we got. So y'all ain't people. We don't grant y'all the same rights. You know what I mean? That's crazy. That's so crazy. Because you don't have access to the same type of medical care, you're not guaranteed the same rights and protections as us. That's insane. That makes no sense. That makes none. I mean, they would have to concede that. They would have to concede that point. There's no way around that. Right? What about the elderly? Right? The elderly people who rely on other people to live. What about people who are handicapped that rely on other people to live? Right? They can't get by without somebody else. Are they less persons? Do we grant them less moral consideration because they're not as viable as we are? Right? What about that? I mean, even a newborn isn't really viable. Right? They're not really viable. If you birthed a newborn and then you left that newborn on the table and everybody exited the room and nobody else ever came back into that room for, I don't know, a couple weeks, that newborn dies. I don't care if that newborn is put into a grocery store with everything that they need, surrounded by baby formula and everything. You know what I mean? I don't care what it is. I mean, unless you're straight up Tarzan, where the gorillas are somehow going to be raising you. Like, if you take away human persons from a newborn, that newborn dies. 10 times out of 10, they die. They do not survive. They have to rely on another person for survival. They have to. Right? So viability just isn't really now, if you're saying something like, oh, well, I just mean, being physically connected to that. I mean, like in the womb, it's bodily autonomy. Okay, it's fine. If you want to go ahead and jump into bodily autonomy, which isn't really your argument is viability. I think that shit is evil. If you're saying that certain people in the world, like in other places, where they are less fortunate to have, not have the same type of medical advancements that we have here, that they're less people, that they are deserving of the right to life less. I mean, you would have to say that. You would have to say here in America, our right to life begins at 24 weeks. And over there in sub-Saharan Africa, your right to life begins at like 28 or 30 weeks or 32 or whatever it is. You know what I mean? You are not granted moral consideration. We don't grant you that either. We don't grant you moral consideration. I mean, you'd have to be here. It's like, what? How does that make sense? That doesn't make any type of logical sense in any way. I mean, unless you're evil. So yeah, so like if you're trying to lead that into like a bodily autonomy argument, okay, we can go ahead and overcome that bullshit. But you're not. You're talking about viability. It's not a feasible argument. It's a terrible argument. It's not one that you can logically back up. There is, to be fair though, there is no pro-choice argument that you can logically back up. Back up. There is no pro-choice argument that can be logically backed up. None. The only thing is that, like in cases of rape, and I've gone over my views on that a million plus times. My moral compass and my moral framework does allow for abortions in cases of rape, even if it is the killing of an innocent person, which I've talked about numerous times. But I mean, you're talking about less than 1% of abortions. You know, what about these other 99%? There's no good argument. None. No good pro-choice argument. Every argument I have defeated, not just me, I'm not taking all credit. I mean, plenty of people on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram have overcome all these bullshit arguments because there aren't good ones. There's nothing. You know, when I debated Vosh and Vosh got washed, he used the bodily autonomy argument. That shit fell. You know, his bodily autonomy argument is trash. It's not logically able to be backed up. Right? So there just is nothing. There's nothing out there. Let's go into another one. But let's see what else this chick has got. She's talking about.
A sperm cell is alive. An egg cell is alive. Also, an acorn is alive. A sperm cell and an egg cell together create a fertilized cell that is alive. But that is not a human, just like an acorn is not a tree.
I've seen this argument a bunch of times, and it's an interesting argument. But the problem is that if you're not really listening, see, they're giving you a false analogy. You have to really pay attention, because on the surface it's like, it's interesting, but when you really pay attention, it's a false analogy. So what she's really saying, or what she's really trying to say, or what she's confusing, is the type of what something is with the developmental stage of where something is. So she's confusing that. She's saying that an acorn is not a tree. Sure, an acorn is not a tree. An acorn is the earlier developmental stage of being a tree. The tree would be the adult version of the acorn, the same way that an embryo or a fetus is the earlier developmental stage of being an adult, not a human, an adult, right? So now, what is the type of thing that this is? Okay, so what is the type of what is the type of acorn? What genus does that belong? I mean, it's oak, right? It belongs to Quercus. I looked that up. It's like Quercus. I believe that's what it's called. But that's like the genus of the oak nut and the oak tree. It's all Quercus. So it's all part of that, right? So the acorn is just oak. You know, oak tree, oak, right? It's just earlier developmental stage. Same with a fetus or an embryo, right? Both belong to both Homo sapien and species belong to Homo as the genus, right? But yeah, it's just the earlier developmental stage, but both Homo sapien. You know what I mean? So she's just completely confusing the two. She thinks that she can confuse the type of what something is with the developmental stage of where something is. And either she is doing it intentionally and trying to intentionally be dishonest and mislead people, or she just doesn't know. She's just ignorant, right? She just didn't really think that shit through. So either way, it's not true. It's inaccurate, right? I would err on the side that she probably isn't trying to mislead people intentionally. She probably legitimately thought that it made sense, but you know, she's just wrong. Now, I invited her on here to explain her views, but I guess that wasn't something that she wanted to do. So anyway, so yeah, I'm sure that makes sense. Let's get into another one. This is the last one. Here we go.
I am for abortion like I am for root canals. I would much rather teach kids about dental hygiene, give them a free toothbrush, maybe even some floss. But in the end, people accidentally get cavities, even if they are very careful. And what we're not going to do is we're not going to say you have to live with the consequences of bad brushing for the rest of your life, be in pain, have that tooth pulled.
Okay. So what she's saying, and most of that, well, some of the things that she was putting in here were analogous, but she's still wrong. she's still wrong. We're going to go ahead and explain. So what she's talking about is preventative measures, right? So she's talking about the floss and the toothbrush. That can be analogized to like contraceptives, right? Like condoms or whatever, birth control. And then the accidents of getting cavities can be analogized to getting pregnant, right? It's fucked up. The cavity and, fetus, human person, but, whatever. But yeah, so cavities can be analogized to getting pregnant, and then sometimes people accidentally get pregnant. Sometimes people accidentally get cavities. Sure, absolutely. But the problem with this is that you can fix whatever your problem is. If you have a problem, or if you acted in a way that produced some type of conclusion, whether it's negative or positive, whether you want it to have happened or not, I guess I should say. If you want to fix that, absolutely. But fixing it cannot be to kill another person. You can't do that. You cannot kill another person. Even more so if you force that person into if that's your accident, if your accident is you forcing another person to be in a physical state of dependency on your body, then you cannot kill them. That is not something that you can do. She doesn't address this. No pro-choicer ever addresses this. Even when the closest person that came up to addressing this was Vosh when I debated Vosh, and he still failed. I give him props for at least addressing my main argument, which he failed to overcome, of course. But I give him props for at least trying to address it. Nobody else has been able to even attempt to overcome it, because they can't. There's nothing that you could say. There's not a single thing that you could say. So, yeah, that's it. That's really it. I mean, I don't know if you guys have like another pro-choice argument that you want me to overcome. I mean, we can go ahead and get into that, because as soon as I get back off of here, I'm going back to watching my Jesus series. There's 3 seasons, and I'm on the first season, so I'm happy. I got to finish changing some things on my merch line so I can restart that again tomorrow too. I'm changing the logo. See, I had the logo kind of coming up the side, like right here, which I thought was cool. But then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make it smaller. Make it smaller so it's not kind of like just coming up the side. But don't hate debate. Do not hate debate. So, yeah. Why am I slacking on TikTok? Because I got banned, dude. And I'm banned right now. What do you think? So I'm banned for I think another 3 or 4 days, and I can get back on there. And this is my new account. This is my 3rd account. Now I only have 72K on there now. I don't have my original 667K. I'm starting all over. I've already had 3 videos pulled down. Sucks. But hey, it is what it is. But okay, hey, if nobody is coming up with any suggestions, then yeah, that's it. So you can reach out to her, and I'll post this back on here real quick so you guys can see who she is again. This chick right here. This is the main chick. This is who had the 3 videos that I overcame. I asked her to come on my podcast. She originally did say that she would explain some things, but when I asked her to send me a DM on my Instagram, because I'm going live tonight around 9 or 10, she never replied. And she never sent me a DM. So I guess she didn't want to. But yeah. That's her. 'Tis her. 'Tis her. We need more blunt man. How much? How much what? Will you be debating Vosh again sometime soon? Yeah, when I start, I know I kept saying it, but the next debate that I'm going to be debating with Vosh is going to be over systemic racism, and or at least that's what we agreed to. And I just have to finish researching systemic racism. I've been so busy with trying to do my merch and all these other things, and I'm in this fucking Jesus show. But I am going to get back to that for sure. Yeah, definitely. If you don't want a baby, don't have sex. Sure. It's absolutely fine. Pro-choicers hate that argument. They really hate that. They're like, well, that's not, it's just not going to happen. People are still going to keep having sex. What does that mean? Because people are still going to keep raping people. Should we not make rape illegal, or should we make it legal? Fuck it. You know what? You're right. Because people are going to keep raping people. You've convinced me now. Let's just make rape legal. Fuck it. I mean, we ain't going to stop rapes. Not going to stop them. What's the point? They just don't like that. They don't want to be held. Every single pro-choice argument is centered around taking zero accountability. None. They want to have fun and do whatever they want, but when consequences arise, they're like, I ain't taking accountability for that shit. You know what I mean? Fuck it. What are the price of my shirts? Just go on there. I think different shirts are different. Just go onto my site, terribleconservative.com. You can go ahead and take a look. And they're tri-blend. All of my shirts are tri-blend. Currently, all of my shirts are tri-blend. If you don't know what that means, it means it's the softest shirt that you can get on there, and not cheap $5 bullshit shirts where other people have their fucking shitty merch and then they mark the price up to $20 or $30 or whatever, and it's just some scratchy bullshit. I mean, my shit is fresh. I mean, it is top quality shirt that you can get out there for a t-shirt. It's really nice. So I take really good pride, like big pride in that. Anyway. Oh, that's funny. Matt versus politics. I'm pro-life. Matt versus politics was an imposter. That's a fact, bro. And he's still talking about him being pro-life, which is hilarious. It is hilarious. It's so funny. Buddy, I'm going to let you in on a little secret, Matt versus politics. If you are advocating for abortion to stay legal for whatever period of time, whether it's the next 2 days, the next month, the next year, the next 10 years, whatever it is, you are pro-choice. Only when you say, okay, abortion needs to be illegal now, then okay, you're pro-life. But if you still advocate for legal abortions, legal murder, then you are not pro-life. You are an imposter. You are a phony. I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. Like, stop. You are a false repper. You're like somebody. You're like a dude wearing a red bandana, walking around the hood, and when somebody checks you and is like, "Yo, you blood?" Like, I mean, I haven't been initiated. You false repping. You are false repping. This ain't you. You are not pro-life, my guy. You may want to be pro-life. Just that person may want it to be a gang member. May wanted to be, but you ain't. So stop pretending to be. Just admit. I mean, honestly, just admit that you're pro-choice. It's okay if you're pro-choice. I mean, it's not okay, but at least, at least you'd be saying the truth that you are pro-choice. You're not pro-life. I have a friend that has Vosh's system. No, I already have his systemic racism, doc. Every single case and prove that there was blah 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 blah. Yeah, thank you, Ryan. Shirts are super soft. I love it. Everyone has said that the shirts are super soft, and I'm wearing it right now, and it is incredibly soft. I didn't know about the tri-blend until I got them. I mean, I thought that I knew what soft shirts were until I got like these shirts, these samples. I was like, wow. I mean, part of it of tri-blend is they use something that's like it's like cotton, polyester, and then the other one is rayon. And that rayon was like, it used to be used, I think, similarly to like silk. So there's a percentage of that in here. It just makes it really smooth. So it's really cool. But anyway, so yeah, guys, there is no good pro-choice argument. There's not a single one. Except when you're talking about in cases of rape, and they even explain it really wrong. If you talk to a pro-choicer talking about in cases of rape, then they usually fuck that up. I can explain it. And I can even explain it right now. Matter of fact, fuck it. So why I believe in abortions, or at least legal abortions, in the very minute cases of rape. So, my argument, right, for being pro life is all centered around moral obligation. The entire argument is centered around moral obligation. You are morally obligated to accept the consequences of your actions if you consciously and voluntarily act on them. Consciously and voluntarily act on them. There's no getting around that. There's no getting around that. That's why my pro-life argument is so incredibly tight. And you cannot, not only that, but you cannot force another person to be in a state of physical dependency on you and then remove that dependency if it will result in their death. That would be murder. And in order to force someone into a state of dependency, you would have had to engage in a way that did that. Now, if somebody took that choice away from you and you didn't really force anyone into a state of dependency, someone made that choice for you, well, then I don't believe that you are obligated, at least not legally, to sustain the life of that child. And I think that it's really tragic and it sucks. I do not like saying it. You know, if I had a wife who was raped, I would, if she, I'd give her my opinion. I'd be like, you should keep it. I mean, it is still the killing of an innocent person. You know what I mean? You shouldn't do that. But legally speaking, should she be forced to do that? No, I don't believe so, because that choice was completely taken from her, right? The same way that if someone snuck into your room while you were sleeping and took hijacked your DNA from you, and then you woke up and then they made this person, this human baby, and it was attached to you physically with a note saying that you need to sustain their life for the next 9 months, I'd be like, no, I don't. Now, personally, would I? Yeah, I likely would. But legally speaking, no, I don't think so. that doesn't make. I didn't do anything. It doesn't even matter if it's my DNA or not. Just because someone is your child doesn't mean that you are legally obligated to them. Now that sounds fucked up, but I can explain, right? Just as let's say that I go and donate sperm at a sperm bank, right? And then that person has they give it to some woman, and another Tyler Bluntman. Well, that's crazy. Who would ever want that shit? But they go and create another child and whatever. And then this woman tries to hit me up 10 years later. We need help with. It's like, well, here's the thing. I'm not responsible for that kid, right? I'm not legally responsible for them. That's you. You're the parent. You know what I mean? I'm not legally responsible. So my point is that not every time are you legally responsible, or should you be legally responsible for them. But yeah, any other time, no abortions, none. When people talk about things like medical emergencies, you're just talking about an early delivery. You know what I mean? And I think that for medical emergencies, there needs to be a balance between the health of the physical health of the mother and the physical health of the fetus. There needs to be some type of balance. If you're saying that, oh my goodness, that, there's a 2% chance of you dying during childbirth. It's like, 2%. You still force that person into a state of dependency. I don't think that's enough. So, but anyway, yeah, there's just no good arguments, guys. There's none. Not a nail, not a one. Not one. So, people are asking about super straight. Yeah, the whole super straight thing, I think, is super stupid. I mean, it's a funny meme. It's definitely a funny meme. I wouldn't go around saying that I'm super straight. I think that's just, I think it's super gay. I think that super straight shit is super gay. But it's a funny meme. I get the point. I totally get the point, but nah, I ain't going around saying, yo, I'm super straight. If anybody walked up to me legitimately and I didn't know that this was a TikTok meme and they were like, dude, I'm super straight, I'd be like, you're gay, I bet. I'm sure. The fact that you put super in front of straight, I feel like you overcompensating now. At that point, I'm like, I'm 99% sure you're gay. Or at least you thought about it. You gay curious, minimum. So, yeah. You ain't gonna see me claiming to be super straight. I'm just a straight dude, Yeah, you walk up to me saying that super straight shit, I'm like, I'm gonna say that you're probably gay. So, yeah, I ain't putting no motherfucking orange and black squares in my damn bio. And if I am, that's gonna represent the hub. You know what I mean? That ain't gonna represent no super straight shit. That represents the hub. And if you don't know what the hub is, then you ain't straight either. Oh man. What is the strongest pro-choice argument that I've come across? There aren't any strong pro-choice arguments. There are none. The only one that was, I guess, that I didn't know without really thinking about was when they posed the argument of, well, what would you do if you had to save 10 fertilized eggs, 10 embryos, whatever, in this burning building, or a 5-year-old child? Which would you save? I was like, you know what I mean? Because immediately I'm like, well, I feel like I need to save the 5-year-old child. And, but then I'm like, oh, but I do think that they're person. So shit, there's 10 of them. But then I really, really thought about it. I really thought about it. I was like, well, wait a minute. So hold on. So first of all, you're forcing me to choose, right? So it's disanalogous to pregnancy in general because you don't have to choose. 99.9% of the time, 98% of the time, you do not have to choose between the life of the mother or the life of the baby, right? You don't. They both survive. 99.98% of the time. They both survive. So you don't have to do that. So it's disanalogous to pregnancy in general. So you don't have to choose. But if you're saying that, well, I do got to choose between one or the other, then I think that that's just whatever your emotional attachment is going to be too. And I don't think that it would be immoral to choose between either of them. If you're forced with that decision, it's no different than if you said that, look, Tyler, you got to choose between this 5-year-old child or this 75-year-old woman with cancer. Healthy child versus a 75-year-old woman with cancer. Or fuck it, she doesn't even have to have cancer. Let's just say she's 75. Fuck it, let's say she's 95. You know what I mean? It's like, well, I'm probably going to save that child. I'm going to save the 5-year-old child. It doesn't mean that they both don't have the equal right to life, but you forced me at this decision. So I'm going to go based off of what I believe I should save, right? You know what I'm saying? Fuck it. If you had me choose between a 5-year-old child and my dog, I'd probably save my dog. You forced me with that decision. My emotional attachment is to my dog. I don't know who that 5-year-old kid is. I know that seems like it sucks, but it is what it is. I'm saving my dog. That's my dog. That's my dog. Both. Metaphorically, my dog, like my best friend, and my man's best friend that's sleeping on my bed right now. So, yeah. You know what I'm saying? That was an interesting argument when I first heard it. But the other part of the thing is that when you're talking about fertilized eggs, you have no idea if they're even going to be viable. Right? They may all miscarry. You have no clue. None. And it's kind of like the train track thing. Think of it this way. Let's say, forget about it. Let's say, fuck it. They're not 10 fertilized eggs. Let's say they're 10 people versus a 5-year-old child. But the 10 people are all murderers, and the 5-year-old child is not. Who do you save? It's not a quantity thing. It's not a quantity thing. It's just whatever that person who is forced with the decision, by the way, you're forcing that decision, disanalogous to pregnancy. But if you're forcing me with that decision, I'm going to go based on what I think makes more sense. It's not immoral. You forced me with the decision. Yeah, what the hell is that 5-year-old doing in an embryo storage place? Yeah. What's the dumbest pro-life argument that you've heard? Okay, when it comes to pro-life arguments, I am not a fan of, first of all, don't ever use that I see this all the time. Don't ever use that stupid ass argument of, oh, well, guys, why is it that when you kill a pregnant woman that, it's considered double homicide? Ha ha, gotcha, libs. It must be another person in the womb. No, that doesn't mean anything. First of all, you're just appealing to legality again. Just because that's what a law is doesn't mean that's what the law should be. That's the first thing. That's what I would say if I was on the pro-choice side. Like, what are you saying? That's the same argument for fucking slavery. We use that shit all the time. It's like, just because something was legal or that is the law, fuck it. If it's the law, legal or illegal, whatever the law says, doesn't mean that it is necessarily right. Right? That's the first thing. Second thing is that's a state-by-state issue. That's not even a federal issue. Like, some states don't have that shit. They don't impose that. Some other states do. So it's not even universally agreed upon. So there's that as well. And again, the biggest part is just you're just appealing to what the law is. No, you can't say because something is lawful that it should be lawful. That doesn't make sense. So I hate that fucking argument. That's such a stupid argument. When I see people say that shit, I'm just like, God, smooth brainedness. I just made that up. Terrible. It's terrible. It's so bad. Yeah, I'm thinking about like another pro-life argument that's really bad. I don't like the natural capacity argument that people use. People like Alex Debates uses it. I don't think that Ben Politics uses it. He might. I'm not 100%. Actually, you know what? I think he does use it because I think I have heard him say that in a debate. The natural, he's like, well, I value them because they have the natural capacity. They have, it's the perspective capacity. You have the perspective ability. You have the potential, right, to do something. It's like, well, why does that matter? What if I don't have the potential to do some of those things, right? What if I just don't have that potential to do certain things? It's just a really weird, and it places value like different. It's like, well, I value human. It's like, well, my argument has nothing to do with value. It has all to do with rights, which is why a lot of pro-choicers can't debunk me because they try to talk about value. Oh, well, Tyler, you value human beings differently. Okay, fine. I'll even tell you that. Sure. Okay, fine. I value a 21-year-old neuroscientist. Well, fuck, it probably wouldn't be 20. Let's say 40-year-old. I value a 40-year-old neuroscientist or neurosurgeon more than I value a fetus. Sure. Absolutely. But that does not mean that both of those people, right, both of those persons do not have an equal right to life. Value has nothing to do with my argument. Just because I value one over the other doesn't mean I could kill one over the other. You know what I'm saying? It has nothing to do with my argument. So I don't like the whole value argument that other pro-lifers like to do. Honestly, it is what it is. My argument is the best argument. However, my argument does open you up to saying that rape should be permissible. I'm sorry, shit, rape should be permissible. Goodness, someone's gonna clip that. Saying, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. Saying people would be like, look at Tyler's subconscious. Tyler's subconscious coming through, guys. So I'm sorry. Saying that abortion should be permissible in cases of rape. So my argument does, I mean, because if you don't believe that with my argument, you would be logically inconsistent. So yeah. But yeah, man, that's pretty much it. Good